Good morning, everyone. Okay, we'll continue our book reading, Toyota Way to Service Excellence by Jeffrey K. Liker and Karen Rose. Last week, we looked at Service for You, enabling bureaucracy, standard support, and how we learn to improve. So today, we'll continue from there. Still on standard support and enabling bureaucracy. Still talking about NL service and how they wanted to standardize work process in their company. So after visiting all the teams, Leslie and Sam stopped to discuss the situation with Susan Jensen, the office's transaction processing manager. Susan explained that as soon as customers had started complaining, as Leslie had taught them, and as was now their habit, this supervisor had gone to sit with the processors to see what they could learn. What they found out was exactly what Sam and Leslie were hearing on their Gemba visit. No two processors did the same work the same way, and there were various opportunities for errors. Susan said the problem seems to be that the method used by various processors allow for errors that inconveniences customer. We are not providing anything like service excellence. We need to understand how the errors occur and work with the processors to develop a better understanding how the errors occurs. Okay, to develop a better method, then standardize it as a baseline for improvement. Over the next few days, Leslie helped Susan and the supervisors put together time studies, just like the ones that Sam remembered from NL services. After the supervisor had collected the data, they could see that a couple of processors had excellent accuracy. Their direct deposits rarely were on the daily audit fail list. And they also used the fewest steps and had the lowest repeatable time for the process. When the supervisors and Leslie and Sam looked at the steps that these processors followed, they could see that the first thing the processors did was to check the documentation the customer sent for accuracy. Once they determined it was accurate, the processors scanned it into the web doc system so that it was available for the auditors immediately. Only after these steps were completed did the processors enter the routine and account numbers into the transaction processing system. The supervisors all agreed that following the process seemed to be in the best way they knew to ensure accuracy and efficiency. Working with the two processors and their supervisors, Leslie helps the team create a standard work document with a simple explanation and pictorial representation of the check, scan, enter process, as they called it. At each step, the processors could easily see if what they had on their screen matched the pictures on the document. It would certainly be easy for the processors and their supervisors to tell good from not good. After they put together the first version of the standard work document, the two transaction processors brought it back to their team and taught their team members how to use it, and the check scan enter process. The processors each got a copy of a document to hang up at their desk just beside their computer screen. At first, team members were a little skeptical, but with support from both the transaction processors who had created the process and their supervisor, it soon became a new routine to follow the check, scan, enter document. At the beginning of every day, the team supervisor checked checked the audit fail list, and if there was a failure, went to understand what had happened. After a few changes to parts of the check scan, enter process and document, audit fails were virtually eliminated for the team using the new process, and direct deposits were entered in less than half an hour. Okay, so this is your stuff for our reading this morning. Still talking about how we learn to improve. In summary, Sam and Leslie was helping the credit processor to learn how to improve in their work. When they found out that their work was not actually done in a standard way, everybody had a different time or a different method of how they assisted customers to to enter in their account details into the system. So Leslie developed or brought about a method which we call the check scan enter process, which is a step-by-step process of how to proceed with transaction processes and putting it customers details into the system. So with what we've read, it's just giving us a brief summary of what the check scan enter document actually is and how they used it so that they don't really appear on the audit fail document every time. So this is your stuff for our reading this morning. Thank you.